Three, two, one. Say I used to roam inside the city with a GT coupe, huh? Got repossessed, I was hurting, huh? I quit my job, I was working. Invested in myself, I was certain. Knew that I would blow. Took a risk, 5K into a show. I lost 1,500 at the dough. So see when you a boss, that's how I go. I lost everything but hope. Talk about growth in the deep end, trying to float. Feel like I'm in the snow without a coat. You ain't know? This is the type of that damn show when it's only 5 people at your show. What would you do? I was backstage turning blue in the face because I let down the crew. Let down the who? You can only let down you. Take notes. I'm going to show you what to do. Pick yourself up, dust that off your shoulders, huh? Get yourself together, you the closer. Breathe, get your composure. Why? Bitch, it ain't over till it's over. Hey, yo, welcome back to another episode of the Arts of Block Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Curry the Third. Welcome back, like the great Mason Bethel. Man, oh man, it feels good to be back. It feels good to be talking to y'all, man. What a week that was had. Oh my goodness, it's a lot to get to. It's a lot to touch on, a lot of disgust, a lot of oh man. Before we tap into anything though, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, make sure y'all turn on post notifications so y'all can be notified when the Arts Block podcast gets posted. That's on YouTube. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please give me a 5-star in a review. You can just say that this is the best podcast you have ever heard in your life, and that will suffice. All right, let's get it. Actually, hold on. Before we start, it's one of you weird people, one of you weirdos came on. One of you weirdos got in my YouTube comments, and I know because I wear socks every pod, right? And I'm not showing y'all my feet because y'all are weird. And I had my socks on, and somebody was like, "Yeah, great. Just take your socks off next time." I was like, "What? No, you creeps, you weirdos." All right. First thing on the docket. Now, this wasn't going to be first thing on the docket. I wasn't going to talk about this. I was just going to touch on it a little bit because it wasn't as big of a deal as when I put this on the docket at first, but now it has blown into something way bigger than what it should have been. Little Yachty might need to take a break from social media. So Lil Yachty he did take a break from social media previously, right? Let me explain. Lil Yachty, a couple months ago or so, caught a lot of flack on the internet for some comments that he made regarding Drake in the Kendrick beef and also regarding New York fashion, right? I'm not into touch on that. That's old news. Now today, what we are what Lil Yachty is catching fire for today. Lil Yachty, he was on his podcast. He has a podcast, had a podcast, had. We don't know yet. That's to be determined. With his best friend, ex-best friend, ex-best friend, used to be best friend, still is best friend. That's also to be determined. Mitch. While he was on the podcast, him and Mitch got into a little altercation. Now, mind you, they got not into nothing physical, just a little verbal back and forth, right? They got into a verbal back and forth in front of a guest. Mind you, a guest was there, another rapper by the name of Key Glock, aka Mr. Glock, aka I'm not even gonna go through his AKA. He's a great rapper though. They was having this disagreement in front of them where Yachty basically came out and said, "Yo, if it wasn't for me and me being successful," I'm paraphrasing here. This isn't exactly what he said, but this is like a paraphrase. If it wasn't for me and me being successful, you wouldn't be where you're at right now, and we don't know where you will be at. You will probably be doing nothing how you was before I gave you this platform. Basically, that's basically what he said, right? There is an artist that he was signed to. There was an artist that was signed to him by the name of Caribou. Don't worry, I'm gonna make all of this 360. When that clip started going viral of Yachty telling his friend basically that I made you and you wouldn't be nothing without me, there was a tweet that his former artist Caribou said, I stay quiet about something because the truth gonna come out to light. Then she made another tweet saying this tweet aged well, right? So I guess that sent Yachty on a little tangent, right? He went on Instagram Live. He went crazy. He was like, Caribou, I wrote all of your songs. Caribou, you're so mean to people. You're so disrespectful. That's why we dropped you from the label. You weren't even basically he was like he was saying that he was dressing and he dressed 5 people before they left the house. Basically 5 people, talking about the people that are signed to him on his label. He basically said he dressed all of them. He wrote for Caribou super disrespectful to him and the people on the label and just the people around. Caribou didn't have nothing before him. Caribou, she was doing this, that, and the third before she started rapping, and the only reason he's rapping was because of her, and everything that aligned in her career was because of him, right? Because of his doings. Then he went on to his friend Mitch on Instagram Live, and basically he was saying about his friend Mitch. He was like, Mitch, I'm done with you, basically because you didn't have my back on Twitter when Twitter was dogging me about that conversation we had on the podcast in front of our guests. Mitch, you knew we was joking. Everybody knew that we was joking. You knew that we was joking. They didn't know that we were joking. Why didn't you come defend me? It's over with you. It's over for the podcast. I didn't need to do that podcast anyway. I only did that so you can have a platform. I'm done with everybody, right? That's basically a synopsis of what happened with Lil Yachty. His best friend Mitch ends up going on Twitter, clearing some things up, right? Which was just collateral damage. It was too late. And yes, and now we're here, right? Now, I don't disagree with anything Lil Yachty said regarding the friend. We're gonna get to the artist that was formerly signed to him a little later. We're gonna get to her a little later. But right now, I just want to focus on what he said about the best friend. And I don't disagree with anything that he said. I don't, right? Because that's a conversation that, it's a way to have that conversation, right? But sometimes that conversation does need to be had. Like, hey, don't forget who did X, Y, and Z for you when you were put in X, Y, and Z position, right? I looked out for you multiple times. Don't forget that, right? That's a conversation that sometimes needs to be had. However, it doesn't need to be had on a public platform in front of a guest. Time and place is everything, right? And I think it's dangerous that a lot of people just start these podcasts but don't really know the etiquette that goes with it, right? It's deeper etiquette than just it's deeper etiquette than just, okay, me talking over you. And we got to make sure that we can't talk over each other and making sure that we get the right questions off for the guests. No, it's certain etiquette, right? Just knowing what to say, what not to say, knowing what to ask, what not to ask, especially when it's your best friend, knowing what buttons to push and what buttons not to push. Like Yachty said that they were playing, but Mitch, by his expression, it didn't look playful, right? It didn't look playful. It looked really uncomfortable. And by Key Glocks, the rapper, the guest that was on the pod, by his expression, the expression gave off to me uncomfortable, right? Like, hey, this shouldn't be a conversation that should be had with me because this don't really have nothing to do with me, right? And the conversation, that back and forth between, like, I did X for you, I did this for you, where would you be? Basically, y'all asked him, like, where, without me, take my success away from it, where would you be right now if I wasn't your friend? If I wasn't your successful friend, where would you be right now, right? Basically having that conversation, and that's a tough conversation to have with somebody, right? Especially as somebody that you feel like you've done a lot for, and somebody that you looked out for, and somebody that you can say, like, hey, listen, man, I've looked out in so many ways for you even when you didn't ask, just out of the kindness of my heart, I guess. I don't even know. Would you like classify that as the kindness of your heart at this point? Out of the kindness of my heart, I've just done so much for you that, and I didn't get nothing. I didn't get nothing back from it, right? I didn't get nothing back. I didn't ask for nothing back. I just helped you, but don't act like I didn't help you. I feel like that's an inappropriate conversation to have on a podcast, especially if you guys were playing, right? That conversation can be used in twisted and flipped in so many different ways, especially in the media. Hundreds of thousands of people saw the full length podcast. Millions of people saw that one clip. Let me say that one more time for the people who don't understand, right? Hundreds of thousands of people watch, which is a lot, right? Which is a lot of people. Hundreds of thousands of people watched the whole entire podcast in its entirety, right? Millions of people on Twitter saw that 2-minute clip of him and his friend Mitch going back and forth. Millions of people saw that 2-minute clip. Do you think that millions of people went back to watch the pod to do his due diligence, right? And to see where the conversation stemmed from, to see what happened after the conversation, to get context, to... Do you think people did that? No. They just ran off from what they saw. Excuse me. They just ran off from with what they saw on Twitter, right? Rightfully so, that's what the internet does. But at the same time, we have to be mindful that these conversations, these clips that get posted on social media, they have a lot of context to them, right? However, in this situation, in this case, the context doesn't really help much. The context doesn't really help Yachty's case much. But this is just for future reference. There's a lot of context that goes behind these clips. But my point is, millions of people saw that clip. So now you have millions of people compared. You have millions of people compared to that 100,000 people that are going back and forth on this situation. And a million obviously are going to be louder than the hundreds of thousands. Now, again, I don't disagree with anything Yachty said to his friend. I just disagree with the way he said it. And again, with the way that he talked about and to the artist, right, that used to be signed to him. I don't necessarily disagree with anything that he said about her or about their relationship, right? I'm not going to say I didn't disagree with anything that he said, or I didn't believe anything that he said about that, right? But I will say this. Yachty doing that told me more about Yachty than it did about the girl. And that's not in a positive way. Because a lot of the things... There's a way to keep things P. That wasn't keeping things P. And this is just, and at this point, this is just as a man, right? Just as a man, sometimes lashing out emotionally isn't the best option for the long term, right? Short term, it might feel the best, but for long term situations, it's not always the best idea to go by what feels the best. Sometimes it's the best idea to go what long term makes sense. Like in the long term, I know I might regret some of these words that I'm gonna put out publicly, so I'm gonna just let some of this slide. Or in the long term, I don't know. What's another example? I don't know another example, right? But just saying, like, for example, right? He publicly said that she's $900,000 in debt, right? I don't know if I know emotions were high, especially with everything that has been thrown around about Yachty in the past couple of months, right? People criticizing him, people criticizing the label, people criticizing him as an artist, people criticizing him as a podcaster, people criticizing him as a head of a label, right? It's a lot of critique going on Yachty, and I know it could be a lot. It could be a lot at times, right? And I get that. However, you have to know how to carry yourself in a certain way when you're juggling all of these things, and you have to know what to respond to and what not to respond to. And some things you just have to keep P. Like that conversation that he had with Mitch could have been cleared up with a little Apple Note statement. That little Apple Note statement that y'all know the little statements that all the people be making. They be little typing in their Apple Notes, and then they be like, "I'm so sorry for da-da-da." That could have been cleared up with that, right? You didn't have to go on Instagram Live and doing all that, right? And the whole thing with Caribou could have just been ignored. You didn't even have to pay attention to that, but you did because emotions were high, and I get that. But for the long term and just response from the people, right? Your short term response is going to suffer long-term consequences. And I want everybody to remember that. Sometimes what you do in the short term is going to set you up and have consequences for the long term. So Yachty, what you did on that Instagram Live is going to have a lingering effect of consequences That happened because now I don't want to say that's your true colors because I don't know you, but the internet has no other option but to think, oh, that's who you are for real. Like you're being serious. That's who you are for real. You're an ass. Like you're a bad person. They don't have no other option but to think that, right? Because of that's what you gave off on that Instagram live. And again, not saying that it wasn't warranted, right? Because I feel like a lot of that conversation was warranted, and a lot of things that he said was warranted, and a lot of the what he was feeling was valid. He was his feeling. I don't want to invalidate how he felt because his feelings are valid and how he felt is valid. I just want to say how he responded, letting his feelings dictate how he responds wasn't the right move for the long term, right? Gotti also said that he uh has written for Caribou. He uh he picks out the clothes of five of his art of all of his artists signed to him, right? Which is like most labels do that. Like most people who run labels do that. They have, if the person is not like good a rapper, a good writer, but they can deliver, they usually hire a writer for the rapper. They get stylists, they get makeup artists, they get uh whatever they might publicists, they get whatever they might need. So in the public, they look as pristine as possible, right? That's all you were doing. So you can't really, and I don't want to make it sound like he was complaining. I don't know if it was like coming off as more of a complaint or just him like, man, I did this, I did that, I did that. But you can't do that when, as a label head, that's kind of your job to dictate all of that, to find the areas where your artists are lacking and fill in those gaps. That's your job as a label head. Like that's not like all labels do it. So I can't. So I don't feel bad that you feel. I don't feel bad at all for you being like, man, I did X, Y, Z. Man, I dressed all these people. I done got these people to do this. I done orchestrated this so it can. I orchestrated this thing. Like he was talking about how he orchestrated the on the radar freestyle so Caribou can go last. That's what a head of a label in somebody who produces things. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to. That's your job. That's your job. But you want them to figure it out. They don't know. They're new artists. You want them to figure out what's supposed to do and how the 808 is supposed to drop and how you want them to. No, they don't know. They're new to this. They don't know. Like I don't know. But I don't know if the dressing all of the people thing is true or if that was just heavily exaggerated. I don't know why he would exaggerate about that, but who knows? Who knows at this point? But shout out to Yachty. My prayers are to you. I think he just needs to take a break from everything, right? Social media, podcasting. Him and Drake need to do the same thing. They might should just go on vacation together. Actually, nah, because didn't Drake just take him off that song? Drake just took him off like the Super Soak song. So yeah, maybe not. I don't know if I don't know if they're on the best of terms right now. I don't know. I'm not sure on that. But if they are, they should just go on vacation together. Like they need to just go away for a very long time and do absolutely nothing. Nothing when it comes to music, nothing when it comes to songwriting, nothing when it comes to labels, nothing when it comes to nothing. They just need to do nothing. This isn't on the docket, but also Drake, stop releasing music. Stop releasing music. Stop dropping music. Drake just dropped 3 new songs and the songs weren't bad, but I'm tired of you. Just stop. Just stop. We're tired of you. Stop. 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 I'm telling you. I said this. I checked my Instagram story. You know how you can check your archives on your Instagram story? The day for all the dogs dropped, that same day, I posted on my Instagram story and I was like, hey, I'm not trying to be funny, but I think Drake should take a break from music. I think it's about that time Drake takes a break from music. I'm not even trying to be funny. I think it's about that time. That was October 6th, 2023. And now everybody in their mama is saying, yeah, man, Drake, you just need to relax. You just need to take a break, go away for a year, then come back, have us miss you. I've been saying this. I've been saying this. Go away. Take a break. Let the tide change. Have us miss you. You're trying to manually change the tide. It's not going to work. A lot of people have tried to do that. Many people have failed. You can't manually change the tide. You just have to let it change naturally. You're just going to have to let it change naturally. The people turned. They will turn back. You just need to let them do it. You can't rush it. You can't oversaturate. You can't just keep oversaturating us with music and just be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're back. No, it gets to a point where like, dog, like time out, time out, pause, just pause. That's why, like, for example, right? That's why it's such a big deal when Cole drops, because it's not oversaturation of music, right? We might see Cole on a whole bunch of features, but those features leave us with like, oh, I can't wait for a Cole project or Kendrick, right? Kendrick might give us a feature, Kendrick might give us a song here or there, but it's special. It's a special occasion when those two drop. It's no longer special when you drop anymore because you give us everything. It's not special. We don't care no more. You're dropping so frequently. It's almost like you're a new artist, which is weird. Is that not weird to y'all? Is it not weird how frequently Drake is dropping? Drake is dropping so frequently. He's dropping as much as new artists should drop. New artists aren't even dropping as much as Drake, which is weird to me. And something is off about that. And I feel like I'm on to something, but we're going to move on because I don't want UMG on my head. Next thing on the docket, Sexy Red has a lip gloss line, and some of all of the names on here is disturbing. So if you are very sensitive to very foul language that I do not use at all, I don't even use this language in my day to day. Like I wouldn't say any of these things. Skip past this part, just press 10 seconds like twice and then we'll be talking about the lip gloss. But here are the names of the lip glosses. Again, if you are very sensitive to foul language, skip. um so here it goes, right? Her lip gloss line um is coming out, and the names of the lip gloss are, or like the colors or the whatever, right, of the lip gloss, right, is Coochie Juice, Booty Hole Brown, Nut, Pussy Hole Pink, Yellow Discharge, Gonorrhea, Blue Balls, and Sex on My Period. Y'all want to know the most disappointing part about all of this? This is so on brand for her. this is so this couldn't have been more on brand if they tried. This is the most on brand. This is Listen. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm by all means. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm not saying that that's positive by any means. But what I am saying is what I am saying is that it's so on brand. When I seen it, I was not surprised. Everybody on Twitter was going crazy. Why would she do that? Why would she name it that? Why would she name it that? I was not surprised. My friend, Raina said this, right? She said that if she was her marketing team, she would try to flip it, right? And she would try to flip it and be like, oh, she just wanted to start the conversation of, of like women like sexuality and like women STD rates, and like bringing awareness to that and having Sexy Red donate to like different STD organizations, right? That's a great idea. That's not going to work for her. And the only reason it's not going to work for her is because we can like, you can see through her. Like you can see that. You can like, Sexy Red is so real, a little too real and authentic to a certain point where it gets to a point where it's like, that's not something you would do. Like we can see straight, like we can see her do a gimmick from a mile away at this point. This is How do I feel about this? If I'm with a girl and she pulls out yellow discharge or gonorrhea from her purse, that will be the last day I'm talking to that girl. I'm not gonna hold you. That's me and her. That's me and her last day. That's our last day. Not gonna hold you. If she pulls out gonorrhea or yellow discharge from her purse, it's over. It's over. We're done. There's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to talk about. Hey, listen, I posted on my Instagram story too, right? If y'all wanna listen, man, y'all should really follow me on Instagram at Eric Curry III, EricCurry. You really should follow me on Instagram. I'm telling you, it's a great time over there. It's a fun time over there. I posted on my Instagram story. I was like, hey, like this is a serious question. Are y'all gonna be walking around with yellow discharge and gonorrhea on your lips, or is there a line that needs to, or is there a line that was drawn for you? For the most part, there was a line that was drawn, and that makes me happy that people are now finally being like, "Hey, enough is enough," and I hope that her and her team, her publicist, whoever may be, hey, be like, "Hey, maybe we should recall these, put different names on them, and then like, and the easiest name for, if you're going, I don't know, and I don't know how lipstick works, right? I mean lip gloss. I don't know how it. I mean, I'm a dude. Like I don't know how none of this shit works. I don't know how this works. So I don't know if these are like colors or like flavors or like I don't know how this works, right? But just say it's colors, right? Sexy red. Sexy red. That's literally a name of a lip gloss. Like that could be sexy red is one. Um, what is ski yee? But like ski yellow, ski like ski yee. But it's like ski. Then yee is like YEE. But then yellow like YEWLLO, like yellow like YELLOW. Then it's like SKEEYEELLOW. Ski, yeah, yellow, ski yellow. Y'all get what I'm saying? But like stuff like that, like that's easy. Like that's easy. Y'all went y'all went the booty hole brown. Now, okay, booty hole brown, I get it, cause that's her origin. My coochie pink, my booty hole brown. That's literally her. That's literally her song lyrics. That's the first song that got her popping, right? Pound Town, just left Pound Town. So I booty hole brown. When I saw it, I got it right. But the rest of these, I was like, yeah, blue balls is crazy. Sex on my period is just disgusting. That's nasty. Gonorrhea is very. You know what, yellow. I want to. I feel like that's very insensitive to the woman who have dealt with those diseases and fought with those diseases and fought, um, like the reputation and the name and the status of having these, like, I don't know, I don't want to misplace them. I don't know if I don't know if gonorrhea is a STD or a STI. But having these like diseases, but having that, I think that's very insensitive for them to just be like, oh yeah, here's just, it's like making fun of a serious thing that a lot of that, I don't want to say a lot of women have, but like some women have and go through. Like that's weird to me. Yellow discharge, nasty. Blue balls, weird. That's weird. Like that's weird. Coochie juice, weird. Nut, weird. All of these names are weird. These are just weird names to have for lip gloss. Does nobody see a problem with it? Does nobody see that this is odd? This is odd. Like this is this is odd. This is odd. This is so odd. Oh my goodness, this is so odd. Bro, like, oh my God, this is so odd. Yeah, nah, this is not okay. Yeah, that's not okay. Sexy Red, I love you at the we love you at the Art Spot Podcast. We really do love you. We adore you. We enjoy your music. Your music is super fun to listen to. However, I think that yeah, we just yeah. And I get it, right? Like her brand, and a lot of people don't get it. Like her brand is raunchy. It's really raunchy. Like that's her brand, right? Raunchy, real. She gonna go to the show with some slippers and her bonnet on and not care, and all the girls in the crowd gonna be like, "Oh, you know what, girl? I'm gonna go to the next show with my slippers." Like that's the attention that she brings, right? And whether that's positive or negative attention, that's up to you, right? I think the real conversation is what standards are you holding the positive and negative attention? Because me, I could care less, right? But some people hold, I don't know what standards they're holding the positive and negative attention when they be like, how people look at us, who's people, and why do we care about how people look at us, right? People don't care about how we look at them, so why should we care about how they look at us, right? So I don't know what standard y'all are, what standard y'all are talking about. However, this is just there's a line. There should be lines. There's lines that should be drawn. This is a line that should be drawn. Whoever's on her team and okayed this, if anybody on her team okayed this to be out, y'all should be off her team. Like y'all shouldn't be there because y'all should have shut this down immediately. But also they're probably thinking about the consumer and probably thinking that the consumer, her core fan base and audience and her core consumers will buy something like this because they get it or they understand. So that's probably where they're going at as well. But at the same time, anybody with any common sense, I I I feel like this is like the names of these, her lip gloss, like the names of this, is deeper than just like the names of the lip gloss. It's how she sees her audience and her consumers. She well, I don't even want to say her. I don't even want to say Sexy Red. I don't want to blame Sexy Red for this. But her team or whoever, I think that this is how they see her audience, right? As, hey, her audience doesn't really care or won't care about the names of these things because they're just as raunchy and yeah, they're just as raunchy as she is. So they shouldn't really care about the names of these things. They're going to think it's funny, they're going to think it's fun, they're going to think it's cute just like how they think her music is. But in all reality, these names aren't great names to put on products. They're names that shouldn't be put on products at all, right? You shouldn't be marketing your product as gonorrhea. Like that's weird. Like that's weird. That's weird. That's weird. That's not okay. That's weird. You're weird. That's weird. Yeah, so anybody on her team that just let her do that and wasn't like, hey, maybe we should not do this. You're a bad person and you set her up for failure. Straight like that. Next thing on the docket, Russ, the rapper Russ, had an opinion on hip hop the other day. Let's pull that thing up. All right. So on Twitter, Russ said, I don't know, man. Being 17 when Drake, Kendrick, Cole blew up, Wiz dropped Kush and OJ and crashed that Piff. Big Sean, Wale, Cudi, etc. Nipsey dropped Marathon, Kanye dropped Twisted Fantasy, Nicki debut, Mac dropped Kids, Future with that Earl video, Chief Keef a couple years later. A lot of this new rap just sounds like bad attempts at impersonating music that is still readily available. So I'd rather just go listen to that. LOL. But if you're 18 to 22 right now, I'm sure that this new ish is slapping. And Russ, to kind of answer your curiosity, right? You was like, oh, I'm sure if you're 18 and 22, I'm sure this new is slapping. As an 18-year-old, it's not. I hate it. My ears bleed. Listen, my little brother just discovered Lil Mabu, right? Poor little Noah. He just discovered Lil Mabu, right, for the first time. And we had a conversation about him earlier today. He was like, man, isn't Lil Mabu about 27? Lil Mabu is 19 years old. Lil Mabu turned 19 in April. I turned 19 in September. And sometimes I sit and think, and I'll be like, you know, black people. Nah. Lil Mabu not even black. But yeah, I feel that, right? And I think that's why I always go back, and a lot of the things that I report on is older things, right? Or things that have to do with older artists, or like not like newer artists. Just for the simple fact that, like, I don't like a lot of you newer artists, and that's okay. Like, it's a couple of y'all that I like. Like, I really like Cash Cobain. I really like Boss Man D-Lo. I like Sexy Red. I like Lotto. I like Flo Milli. I like Doechii. I like JID. I like Smino. It's a lot of the new guys. I even like Yachty. Like, I like Lil Yachty. It's a lot of the new guys and girls that are out now that I listen to and that are on my playlist, and that I listen to regularly. I'll listen to their album if they drop, and that I really like, and I really enjoy listening to their music. However, it's a lot of you new guys that I don't like, and I don't care for listening to, and I will never care for listening to, because you guys just don't do nothing for me personally, right? And I think the difference between who Russ was naming, like the big three: Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Wiz, Sean, Wale, Cuddy, Nicki, Nip, Mac, Ye, Odd Future, Chief Keef. I think the difference between those artists and what we have now is that it's just, I think it was a love for, I think it's love. Like, these people loved what they did, and they made a way and paved a way. Like, Chief Keef made a sound. Like, when Chief Keef dropped, it shook the world. Like, when Chief Keef dropped Don't Like, what was Chief Keef? He was like 16 at the time. That shook things up, like, in real time. Like, that shook the rap game in real time. Put Chicago on the map. I wouldn't say put Chicago on the map, because Kanye was already putting Chicago on the map. But, and like rappers like Common, and so that was a bad example because it didn't put Chicago on the map. But put Chicago drill scene on the map. There you go. Put the Chicago drill scene on the map on a different scale and different level when that dropped, right? Nip, Marathon, Twisted Fantasy. It was just the love of music. Like, I think these people genuinely loved music when they dropped, and we're at a place right now where you guys don't love music. It's funny how I feel like every pod comes back to this conversation, how you all just don't love or like music at this point, right? And I think it's important for everybody to love what they do and do what they love, because if you don't love what you do and do what you love, you're taking up space for people who actually do love what they do and do what they love, right? You're just taking up space. But also, I think part of this is that a lot of newer artists, one biggest thing, they don't love music. Two, next thing is they don't respect the culture enough to even learn or do the due diligence to do research and learn about the culture or the music, right? And three, this is just a quick lick. This is just a quick lick. This is all this is. This is just a quick lick to get to where they need to go to do whatever they need to do. I was on the Bryson Tiller live, right? And this conversation isn't about Bryson Tiller. This is just the first example that popped into my head. But Bryson Tiller said, this is before he dropped his last album. And he was like, yeah, when this next album drop, y'all might not get music from me for a while, because I'm going to start pursuing my actual passion, which is like game development. And he wants to be a game developer, right? But it's like, if that was your real passion, then was music just the gateway to get to that? You feel me? Like, y'all get what I'm saying? Like, it's certain ways to do things and certain ways to not do things. But I get what Russ was saying, and people on here is like, Russ has no place to talk because he's the you know uh uh he's just a bad attempt at impersonating music that's already regularly. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Because if I ask y'all who your favorite artist is, then y'all are going to give me somebody who literally is either cosplaying the culture or just giving us trash, like just giving us garbage. And I will literally pinpoint every way that literally. All right, so I keep telling y'all I'm not a Playboy Cardi fan, right? And I seen somebody on Twitter say that, yeah, Playboy Cardi is a very good rapper because of the pockets that he finds in the beat, and that made me think and wonder if any of you guys actually know what a pocket is in music, what a drum pocket is, what a like how you find a pocket as a rapper. That made me question if you guys know what that actually means and know what that is, because Playboy Cardi does have some really nice flows. He has some really nice flows, and I will give him that. That's probably like one of the strongest points in his rapping ability. Like his old Cardi, I would even say, not really newer Cardi. He just don't sound like he's saying anything now. He's not saying anything now. He's just screaming and yelling and shit. But older Cardi, he did have a very unique way in finding what's that song? That dun 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 and hoes it kid cutty it's something like that. And he was like, "I wanna be dirty, you wanna be cutty, you wanna be dirty, you wanna be dirty, you eat hoes, you eat hoes." Like it's something like that. And then, like I think that's so hard. Like I think that flow and that cadence that he did was so hard. Um, but like it's just like any other example other than that isn't like is not yeah, it's not really gonna do it for me. Like it's not really gonna do it for me. Like, yeah, and that's just a lot of you guys now. But I don't want you guys to take this to heart. I want you guys to just be better. Don't be angry, be better. And I hope that this episode of the Art Spot Podcast today made you guys be better. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Art Spot Podcast. But before we get out of here, I will give y'all my Dead or Alive. Now, if you're watching this podcast for the first time, hello. If this is your last time watching the Art Spot Podcast, goodbye. But Dead or Alive is a segment on the podcast where me or the artist gets to choose artists that we would like to work with that is Dead or Alive. Now, we can choose one artist. We can choose 100 artists. I'm going to do whatever I want because this is my podcast. Dead or Alive, who am I choosing? R.I.P. Nip. I'm gonna pick Nip. R.I.P. Nip. R.I.P. J Dilla. I'm gonna pick Dilla. R.I.P. Pimp C. I'm gonna pick Pimp C. Yeah, that's my Dead or Alive. Nip, Dilla, J Dilla, Pimp C. Rest in peace to all those legendary, beautiful souls. Yes, rest in peace. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Our Spot Podcast. I have been your host, Eric Curry III. You can follow me on Instagram at Eric Curry III. That is ERICCURRYIII. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram at Our Spot Podcast. If you are listening on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can be notified every time you post a podcast. If you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, make sure you give me a 5-star and a review. You can just say that this is the greatest podcast that you have ever heard in your life. Remember that artists never die. I love you. God loves you. Do something that you love every single day. Do it with passion, purpose, and love. Don't forget it. I will see y'all next week. Peace out. Ice Tides Boss.